It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rabble panicked. The carnage began. And the Magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared, and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead, I became part of their story.
So, still a bit groggy, are we? Don't worry, the sedative will wear off soon enough. Easy now, no need to hurry. Get your bearings and report to me upstairs.
Well, look what the doctor got. You're lucky they didn't notice just how thin you were under those bandages. Although, seeing someone wrapped up like that, they probably thought you had the scabbing plague. Heh? Look, laugh, but don't touch. Better keep that hood down, mind you. The living don't take kindly to seeing their future staring back at them.
Playing dead, are you? Probably a good idea. Animal sty? Freight or food?
Shaking her fluffy coat, the sheep eyes you balefully, her rectangular eyes like letterboxes to the void. With one sharp hoof, she kicks you right in the shin.
Banded like a chicken's leg, but not much meat on your bones. That may be so, but look at the flies. Ban wisdom. Flies know when a creature will die. And it's around your head they're buzzing, not mine.
With 2 shakes of her stumpy tail, the sheep turns away from you.
That click. This floor plate triggered something.
You there. Come here.
The Magister Guard snorts and sniffles as he sleeps. You're almost impressed that one man can make such a phlegmy racket.
Is my shift over? Are you here to relieve me? Oh, wait, you're no Magister. You're a sorcerer. What are you doing here, filthy elf? Choose your words carefully. My fists ache to meet a new face. And it's about time too. The lads and lasses up there are getting lazy. Figures they'd send one of you sorcerers down. They can barely be chuffed to wiggle a single toe. Can't just leave the prisoner alone, though. I heard he might be the one causing trouble upstairs. That's all I needed to hear. Just don't let that caged rascal fool you. You can't trust him as far as you can throw him.
Hey, get me out of this cage and I'll make it worth your while. You in? Your guess is as good as mine. Someone screamed, loud as a banshee. After that, pure pandemonium. They never even told me what I was accused of. Just dragged me down here. A gentlewoman among jesters, you are. Give that lever a pull, and I guarantee we'll both get something out of the deal. Set me free, and I'll set you free. A fair trade, I should think.
The prisoner's buoyant voice darkens as his gaze finds the sunken hollows that once held your eyes.
Ah, freedom. Tastes better than wine. I'm nothing if not a...
Empty.
I'm back where I started. Nowhere to go but up.
Empty. Empty.
Why, you're looking a bit more chipper. Yes. Looks like the collar fits you snugly enough. Nice bit of work, even if I do say so myself. There you are. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, in the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the logs. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters. Why? Because we're at sea, of course, and have been for...
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative. Oh, well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. In the meantime, all you need to know is that we're en route to Fort Joy. A new life awaits, and if you're a particularly good girl, perhaps a cure as well. An end to Source. For good. Why, for my peace of mind, of course. Why don't you try casting one of those Source spells of yours? See what happens.
Currents of magic surge inside you, boiling, bursting, then breaking, only to fade back into your soul like rain into the earth.
You better stop before you hurt yourself. All will, but no result. There you have it. See? The collar's function. It neuters you of sorts. Makes you unable to cast Source. For your own peace of mind, of course. Yours and the whole world's.
gods!
Behind the Magister, a bloodied mass lies in a heap. Gore and limbs lie at odd angles. You can't make out a face amid the mess.
Now, where did I leave my calipers?
Easy now. Why don't you move along? Get some fresh air. Waters is investigating. She'll figure out who did it. Always does. It's a small ship. His name was Finn. Oddball. Looked to me like he saw something he wished he hadn't before he came here. We'll find out who did it. One way.
A young Magister stands pale and silent. Her knuckles whiten around her weapon as you pass.
Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwalker followed the source that did this. Finn didn't see it like that. He was desperate for us to help him. Two things scared the living daylights out of him. His own shadow and his own source. We'll find out who did this. Speaking of...
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. Didn't even stir. You're one of the only indisputably innocent people on the ship. Unless you can commit murder in your sleep, of course. I thought as much. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open among the passengers. Sometimes bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about that? An elf of principle. I get it. Wonder how you'll feel when whoever did this does it again. You let me know if you hear anything. Whoever did this is dangerous. It seems as though there's a pattern in the blood flow. What a well of that can't be natural.
Dallas is such a thing.
Be good, you scallywag.
I'm not suited for this. Haven't got any shears, have you? People these...
An elf sits tucked away in a dark spot, lazily rolling dice onto the surface of a barrel. They sound like the dry cackling of an old witch.
Snake eyes.
She chuckles.
I bet that's just what they'll look like.
It was one of them. I know it.
Rolling dice. Deciding fates.
They don't care about
Don't worry, honey. It isn't yours.
She looks you up and down with the merest hint of a coy smile on her lips.
Never say never, though.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
She eyes you suspiciously.
Not the future, no. But I can read the past in flesh. Just like you. And I'm quite good at it, too. I could lick your arm and tell you how you spent the night before last. Shall I?
She looks at you in surprise when you bare an arm of bone.
My. Guess I'll have to find out the memory from Marrow. won't I?
She gives your arm a vigorous stroke of the tongue, efficient like a cat grooming.
You were in a cellar with other sorcerers, watching, staring at them, hoping that none would stare back. You were thinking of flesh, or, to be rather more precise, the pleasures of the flesh, those that have eluded you for so long.
She pats you on the shoulder consolingly.
There, don't you worry, darling. Your secret's safe with me. I don't lick and tell.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
You think me mad?
Mad? No. Insufferable? Surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if it's enough for me to listen.
Ah, there you are, wife. Would you please tell this very charming gaggle of not-at-all brat-like babes that I am by no accounts this loser woman, nor do I sing, in fact. I'm deathly allergical. How very correct you are, spouse of mine. Madame Josephine Gribbles de Peeb refuses to be confused with anyone else. What? What's so funny?
Her pinched face cracks into a great grin, and she shoos the children away from her with a laugh.
Yeah, okay, you found me out. Go on and git, and maybe I'll sing you something when I'm good and ready.
She turns to you, dark-eyed and dirty-haired, and smiles flatly.
Gotta keep ourselves entertained, haven't we? You'd presume right. Nope. Trying not to find anything out either. Ignorance is bliss. The utterer, the better. Thanks, but I already belong to an elite and exclusive ship gang. We play ball every day after lunch. You're too soft for it. You take care, though.
Suddenly, her eyes cloud to an unnatural black. Greyish veins run down her face, and her mouth tightens into a cruel sneer. As quickly as they came, the clouds clear. She smiles as though no change came over her.
Good luck, Chief.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
I'm here because I'm magic. Are you here because you're weird?
Insufferable? Surely.
Do you know Losa? She's a really good singer.
I'll tell you if you keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Name? The Divine Order wants to know. Well, you aren't here on my list. Scrammy. We're trying to catch a killer here.
A no doesn't become a yes over time, you know.
Like I said, you aren't on the list.
Never thought you'd end up a prison convict.
That right? I always knew you'd turn out rotten, Ben Mist. Your kind always hung closest to our divine.
Got this wolf on a leash now.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you right over the side of this ship with it.
The elf is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He looks up, his big round eyes scanning your body, absorbing every detail. He reaches out and examines your bandages, rubbing them between his fingers.
There's nothing else I can make, Your Majesty. Turnips and water are all
Fascinating.
He sits back and returns to his book, flicking quickly from page to page, completely oblivious to your presence.
Well, there has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the magic
Ah, yes. The niceties. My name is Fane. I am a scholar from... well, I am a seeker of knowledge. That it is pleasurable to meet you. Is there? Wherever do you keep it? Certainly not in your books. I have been reading this one for several minutes, and I have yet to find a single insight into the mysteries of the universe. It is simultaneously too detailed and insufficient. I know the beginning of this tale and the end, but I am rather missing the middle. Tell me, what do you know of our world's history? Oh, please. I have no interest in that. Your books are too full of it already. No, I want to know about the Celestial. I want to know about your gods. This text tells me that they created all creatures, but nothing of what came before. Where did these gods come from? Who are their people? Where are the others of their kind? Of course you don't have any useful information. Why did I expect anything else? Now, please, run along. I have a world to decipher.
No amount of pestering will get the elf to take his eyes off his book or respond to your questions.
It was one of them. I know it.
Would you put a...
Did you see the body? They ought to let you taste a bit. Maybe you'd find out who done it.
A broad dwarf sits totally upright on the bench, eyes closed, palms face up on his knees. His beard is a cascade of meticulous plaits, each one braided through with golden medallions. He raises an eyebrow as you approach, but doesn't open his eyes.
Listen up, Ghetto. You hear that?
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hand you right over the side of the ship with it.
The ship, of course.
A wave of sound washes over you. The unintelligible chatter of your shipmates, the groaning of wood from floor to ceiling, the boom, crash and crackle of waves around you, complaints from the sea itself.
And?
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen-course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with the custom.
Sick as a leper's cat. From the state of it, I'd say she's being cared for by a bunch of beardless babes who never loved anyone but their own mums. But there's more. Listen close. There now, just like that.
Squeak!
Aha!
His eyes snap open as his countenance breaks into an expression of joy. One great paw claps you on the back, the other catches you before you lose your footing.
There, you heard it, didn't you? I knew it. I knew it. Aye, this is good news, kiddo. Good news.
That right? I always knew you'd turn up fraught and Ben messed.
It's the wheel, don't you see, you beautiful idiot? Squeaks whenever the helmsman jerks it clockwise, which means we're heading east. Burn my beard. That means if we'd been travelling for... yes, only 10.34 nautical miles to Fort Joy. No indeed, Gero. But that ain't my final destination.
The dwarf leans back from the table and strokes his beard, gold medallions jingling merrily. His eyes...
That'll be all, thank ye kindly, Gero.
Turnips and water are all I was given.
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen-course dinner, and I don't intend to do away with the custom.
I spent my life singing for my slaves to bring me my supper. Finer fare than boiled roots and rotten tubers, too. Meanwhile, the Magisters feast on honeyed meat behind this very wall. The indignity.
I'll give you
Well, well. What have we here? A fresh face in this stale hell. Let's size you up, shall we? See if you'll do.
The lizard looks you up and down, like a farmer would a fetching horse. All of a sudden, he grips you firmly by the chin, with the intent of inspecting your teeth.
There's some discoloration, as well as a rather disconcerting lack of tongue and gums, but I've seen worse. After all, one can't expect to find prime merchandise on a squalid little ship like this. Now then, to business. You will answer me 3 questions. The first one is this. Can you cook? Ah, music to my beleaguered stomach. On to the second question. Can you knit, weave? In short, tailor? Oh, but to feel the caress of satin on my scarlet skin once more. A most satisfactory answer indeed. On then to my final query. Have you the ability to administer the upkeep of one's personal appearance? The delicate art of cosmetics is what I'm after. The very basics, then. I suppose that's a start. So, 3 questions asked, 3 questions answered. Let's evaluate, shall we? As per your own testimony, you can cook, tailor, and groove. Well, that just about settles it. I offer you my sincerest congratulations. As of now, you are my slave. Of course you accept. Mine wasn't an offer, it was an order. Anyway, you may leave me for a moment. We'll go over your duty. How dare you classify this slop as food?
A scruffy man lounges against the wall with scarred arms folded. A sly smile playing on his face, he stares across at the Magister guarding him. Noticing you, he straightens and beckons for you to come closer.
Watch your back, new fish. There's a murderer on board, and I'd bet 3 months' pay it's this tramp you found.
There has been a murder, Your Majesty.
Rolling his eyes at the Magister's warning, the man named Ifan beckons again. He leans in and adjusts your collar with a sharp tug, balancing its weight so it no longer presses unpleasantly on your neck. He winks.
Pinches less that way, right?
Hocking a phlegmy gobbet in your general direction, the sullen Magister settles back to his task of glowering at Ifan. And now, you.
We used to know each other, more's the pity. I was his commander many, many, many moons ago. Isn't that right, Vic?
Standing far back from Ifan, the tight-faced Magister draws one finger across his throat in an elaborate fashion, but says nothing. Ifan grins, flashing pointed white teeth.
Same as he was at 14 years old. Only difference is somebody gave him a bigger sword and now he's Johnny Big Pants. No. The dead man, Finn, is it? I'd no business with him. And I wouldn't put a man down without good reason.
He glances over at Magister Victor, who's staring back at him with pointed intensity.
Damn shame sheer annoyance isn't reason enough. Long story. Maybe I'll tell you about it in the Joy. Away from interested parties. The Joy, I've heard a lot. Nothing good. No surprise there, since Bishop Alexander runs the show. Wonder if we'll get to meet the ringmaster himself. Easy now. I might think the same, but Vic here will blow a blood vessel if he hears you talking like that.
What are you conspiring about over there? You!
Oh, don't mind him. Vic's just got a bee in his bonnet. And that bee is me.
Name!
Magister Victor looks at you suspiciously, then scrawls something illegible down in a tiny notebook. He scowls at you as he stows the notebook back in his voluminous robes.
Away with you, at once.
I'll tell you if you keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Ifan performs an elaborate pantomime of keeping quiet, one finger in front of his lips as he leans back against the wall.
Shoot to kill. You seem on edge of us. What on earth is the matter? Murder most foul, and I strongly suspect you know all about it. Do you?
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard, Vic.
Absolutely right.
That right? I always knew you'd turn out rotten, Ben. Your kind always hung closest to our divine, like wolves around a campfire.
Well, you've got this wolf on a leash now.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, he'll hang you right over the side of this ship with him.
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard, Vic.
That right? I always knew you'd turn out rotten, Ben Mest. Your kind always hung closest to our divine, like wolves around a campfire.
Well, you've got this wolf on a leash now.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here, we'll hang you right over the side of this ship with him. I'm busy watching for clues, sorcerer. Go take your sub-story somewhere else.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us up one by one. Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
You think me mad?
Mad? No. Insufferable? Surely.
What do you
Like I said, you aren't on the list. I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Here's the register, ma'am. Good, good. Magister Williams has just about done with the last passenger.
You seem on edge, officer. What on earth is the matter? Murder most foul, and I strongly suspect you know all about it.
You faring okay so far? Glad to hear it. You head on in now, William.
Standing at the center of the room, you spot a sorcerer haughtily eyeing a pair of nervous-looking magisters. They keep their crossbow trained upon her as she's being interrogated by an officer.
So you admit it then? You murdered that poor fella? Yes, I did. But of course, that was only the beginning.
She turns her head and looks you straight in the eye.
There are others whose lives must end. Good God, the woman's mad. You there, sorcerer, go and fetch Magister Siwan. We need to do more than collar this maniac. We need to... By all means, do as the officer says. But you had better hurry, because...
She reaches for her collar and simply removes it.
I'm just about to create a scene. Subdue her, men, quickly! If she casts Source, the Voidwoken will come. They'll end us all.
She smiles with wicked satisfaction.
Precisely.
it.
The hound paws desperately at its snout. The dog notices you. It sneezes suddenly and paws at its nose once more.
Can't smell. Can't breathe. Too much sauce. Too much. Too much.
Please, make it stop.
The dog whines.
Not long before this thing snaps into splinters. Damn! That doesn't bode well. Onwards and upwards.
Pass through the door and are suddenly face to face with an undead. The skeleton is quickly leafing through a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia, muttering to himself.
No, no, no! What damn fools record knowledge on a pulped tree? It catches fire, it turns into must when wet, it cannot even resist acid! No wonder they're so bloody ignorant.
The skeleton looks up and notices you for the first time.
Oh, it's you. Shouldn't you be running and screaming or some such?
The skeleton groans and looks back to his book, frantically flipping from page to page.
Yes, indeed. It's the look of someone that wants to read the bloody book he's holding. Now, if you're really quite finished, I believe you have lifeboats to flee to. Please, I was no more an elf than you are those rags you're wearing. I had a mask, rather ingeniously designed, which allowed me to take that primitive form. A mask that was stolen by that damned witch after her little scene. Still, she'll drown with the rest of these fools, and I will simply pluck my mask from her cold, dead hands.
The skeleton holds up his book in one quick, frustrated movement.
I am trying to discover if there is anyone worth saving. And I will be damned if I let the lives of some mayflies get in my way. Go on. Go. Swim.
Great gods! Something's pounding on the hull!
The marking on the door was painted recently, judging from its pungent scent. You recognize the symbol immediately for what it is. A warning. You press your palm against the door to open it. Your fingers clack against the wood, and you suddenly feel grey. It doesn't budge. The door groans open, but an ashen shadow clouds your mind.
Death fog. Good thing I'm immune. Still, this means trouble.
By divine grace, who was that howling?
He eyes the collar circling your neck and reaches a hand towards his...
Another sorcerer! Like you don't know? Mutiny! Did that witch fix your collar too? Go on then. Find a place to hide and stay there. You need to find a hiding place. What?
Bishop Alexander. If Lucian were alive, what would he think of his son's divine order?
The dwarf yanks at one of the nearby ropes to no avail.
Said there were other people down there. We need to...
You see those tentacles, kid? It's time for getting the hell out of here.
Thank you! There's a ladder right over there.
You're gonna be the death of us, you hear?
If you can walk, get yourself up the ladder. There's a... Wait! Void broken!
Let the games begin.
They who are about to triumph salute.
I thought Voidwoken was supposed to be scary.
I've faced worse.
Let's not tarry. This old pub is about to...
Bishop Alexander.
You need to find a hiding place. What will happen to her?
As the dead man's flesh slides down your throat, you feel his consciousness enter yours. His memories are yours to experience. You are Finn. Your heart is heavy. You know too much. It's all too much. You met him. A bright light blinds you, then fades. You feel a tremendous power in your hands, but they are shaking so hard you can barely use them. Suddenly you're on this very ship, crouched in a corner, hugging your knees. A figure approaches, an older woman. Her eyes are kind. She comes closer. She says she wants to talk. She reaches a hand toward you. You grasp it. The memories end. You are no longer Finn. You return to yourself.
I hear something. It's Magister Siwan, the one who put on this damn collar. Sounds like she needs help.
She tries to speak, but can only gape as she clutches her neck, trying to step. With jagged movements, she raises her clenched fist and holds out a length of cloth, soaked with some kind of strong-smelling tincture. Blood quickly soaks through the cloth. Magister Siwan's mouth opens and closes, her eyes wide in terror. It's working. The pressure is stemming the flow of blood. Siwan clutches your arm, her eyes locked with yours. Something within the ship snaps. The floorboards shudder. Siwan struggles to her feet, clinging to you tightly. The ship lets out a deep groan, then cracks.